Next topic is nose and paranasal sinuses. In that, first we are going to discuss is the nasal cavity. It extends from the external nares for the nostril to the posterior nasal aperture, and it is divided into two halves. So the nasal cavity, it is divided into two halves, that is the right and left part by the nasal septum. So this is the nasal septum. It divides it into right and left part. So each half has a roof, floor, medial and lateral wall. The nasal septum, it is a median osteocartilaginous partition between the two halves of the nasal cavity. So on each side it is covered by the mucous membrane and forms the medial wall of both nasal cavity. So there are two parts. One is the bony part and other is the cartilaginous part. In bony part, that is formed entirely by the vomer bone. So this one is the vomer bone and it is formed by perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone. So it is formed by perpendicular plate of ethmoid and the vomer bone. Whereas the cartilaginous part, it has a septal cartilage, the septal process of inferior nasal cartilage. The lower part of the septum, it is known as the columella. So remember, a septum, it has four borders and two surfaces. So it has four borders and two surfaces. Coming to the arterial supply of the nose. So remember, there are three parts. First is the anterior-superior part. The anterior-superior part, that is supplied by the anterior-superior part, it is supplied by the anterior and posterior ethmoid arteries. The anterior-inferior part, it is supplied by a superior labial branch of the facial artery. So it is a branch of facial artery. The posterior-inferior part, it is supplied by the sphenopalatine artery. So it is the, remember, it is the main branch. Whereas the posterior-inferior part, it is supplied by the greater palatine artery. So the anterior-inferior part of the vestibule of septum, it contains the anastomosis between the septal ramus of superior labial branch of the facial artery, branch of sphenopalatine artery and anterior ethmoid artery. So this area, remember, is known as the little area, or it is known as the Kisselbach plexus. So it is very important for your examination. So in exam you can get a question. A Kisselbach plexus, it is formed by, remember, superior labial artery, greater palatine artery, sphenopalatine artery and anterior and posterior ethmoid arteries. So it is a common side from bleeding from nose. So another point that you have to remember for your exam is, it is known as, number one, it is known as little area, second it is Kisselbach plexus, and third it is common site for bleeding for the nose, and fourth you have to remember, it contains four arteries: anterior posterior ethmoid artery, sphenopalatine artery, greater palatine artery and superior labial artery. The venous drainage, the veins form plexus. The plexus drain anteriorly into the facial vein and posteriorly through the sphenoid vein into the pterygoid venous plexus. So coming to the nerve supply of the nasal cavity, it can be either by the general sensory or special sensory. The general sensory, that is by the trigeminal nerve, that is distributed to the whole of the septum. So the anterior superior part of the septum, it is supplied by the internal nasal branch of the anterior ethmoidal branch of the trigeminal nerve. The anterior inferior part, it is supplied by the anterior superior alveolar nerve. The posterior superior part, it is supplied by the medial posterior posterior nasal branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion. And the posterior inferior part, it is supplied by the nasopalatine branch, the pterygopalatine ganglion. So it is the, remember, main nerve. The special sensory or olfactory nerves, they are confined to the upper part of the olfactory area. The lymphatic drainage, the anterior part, it drains into the submandibular nodes, whereas the posterior half, it drains to retropharyngeal nodes and deep cervical nodes. So for exam point of view, you have to remember few points. Number 1, sphenopalatine artery, it is the artery of epistaxis. Second, little area is common site of bleeding from the nose. So this little area is very important for your exam point of view. So next we are going to discuss are the conchae and the meatus. So these nasal conchae, these are the curved bony projection that are directed downward and medially. So there are 3 types of conchae. They are superior conchae, medial conchae and inferior conchae. So remember, for your exam, the inferior conchae, it is a independent bone. So which is an independent bone? It is inferior conchae. Second, which of the conchae is small left? It is the superior conchae, which is the small left. So S for small left, S for superior conchae. The meatus, they are the passage between the overhanging conchae. So we have superior meatus, middle meatus and the inferior meatus. So each meatus communicates freely with the nasal cavity proper. So the inferior meatus lies underneath the inferior conchae and it is largest of all meatus. So which one is the largest? It is the inferior meatus, which is the largest. Remember for your exam, the nasolacrimal duct. The nasolacrimal duct opens into it at junction of anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3. The opening, it is guarded by lacrimal fold or Hasner valve. Number 1, the inferior meatus is the largest. Number 2, the nasolacrimal duct opens in the inferior meatus. It is guarded by Hasner valve. The middle meatus, this one is the middle meatus. The middle meatus lies underneath the middle conchae. It presents the bulla ethmoid. It represents the ethmoidal bulla. It is a round elevation. So it is a round elevation produced by the middle ethmoidal sinus, which opens at the upper margin of the bulla. Second, it contains hiatus semilunaris. It is a deep semicircular sulcus below the bulla. So number 1, it contains ethmoidal bulla. Second, it contains hiatus semilunaris. So remember the opening of the frontal air sinus. The opening of the frontal air sinus, it is located in the posterior part of the hiatus semilunaris. Second, the opening of anterior ethmoidal sinus. It is present behind the opening of the frontal air sinus. And third is the opening of the frontal air sinus. It is seen in the anterior part of the hiatus semilunaris. Third, the superior meatus. This one, superior meatus, it lies below the superior conchae. It is shortest of the all. So, opening in the superior meatus is the posterior ethmoidal air sinuses. So, it receives the opening of posterior ethmoid sinus. So, posterior ethmoid sinus contains opening in the superior meatus, opening in the middle meatus and opening in the inferior meatus. These are important for your examination point of view. The sphenoethmoidal recess. It is a triangular fossa just above the superior conchae. So it receives the opening of sphenoid air sinuses. Coming to the paranasal sinuses. The paranasal sinuses are the air-filled spaces. They are present within some bones around the nasal cavity. So what are the paranasal sinuses? They are frontal sinus, ethmoid sinus, sphenoidal sinus and maxillary sinus. Frontal sinus, ethmoid sinus, sphenoidal sinus and the maxillary sinus. Function of these sinus is to make the skull, lighter. So that warms up and humidify the inspired air. So they add resonance to the voice. The sinuses, they are rudimentary or absent at the birth. They enlarge during the 6 to 7 years of age. So from the birth to adult life, the growth of sinuses is due to the enlargement of bones. The frontal sinus, this one is the frontal sinus. It lies in the frontal bone. Deep to the superciliary arches. So it extends upward above the medial end of the eyebrow and backward into the medial part of roof of the orbit. It opens into the middle meters of nose at the anterior end of the hiatus semilunaris, either through the infundibulum or through the frontonasal duct. The right frontal sinus and left sinuses, they are usually unequal in size. They are absent at birth. They are well developed between the 7 to 8 years of age. Coming to the arterial supply. The arterial supply is by supraorbital artery and the venous drainage is into the supraorbital and superior ophthalmic vein. The nerve supply is by supraorbital and supratrochlear nerve. The lymphatic drainage is to the submandibular lymph nodes. Coming to the maxillary sinus. The maxillary sinus, it lies in the body of the maxilla. And it is the largest of all the paranasal sinuses. So which paranasal sinus is largest of all? It is maxillary sinus. We have already discussed the maxillary sinus. Few important points that you have to remember is it is pyramidal shaped. Remember for your exam, it opens into the middle meters of nose. So it opens in the middle meters of nose in the lower part of hiatus semilunaris. The maxillary sinus, it is the first paranasal sinus to develop. So which one is the first paranasal sinus to develop? It's the maxillary sinus. The arterial supply, it is by facial, infraorbital and greater palatine artery. The venous drain into the facial nerve and pterygoid plexus of veins. The lymphatic drainage is by submandibular lymph node. The nerve supply, the posterior superior alveolar branch from the maxillary nerve and anterior and middle superior alveolar branch from the infraorbital nerve. Coming to the sphenoid sinuses. The right and left sphenoid sinuses lie within the body of sphenoid bone. So they are usually separated by a septum. The two sinuses, they are unequal in size. The arterial supply, it is by posterior, ethmoidal and internal carotid artery. The venous drainage is in the pterygoid plexus of veins and cavernous sinus. The lymphatic drainage, it is through the retropharyngeal lymph nodes. And the nerve supply is by posterior ethmoidal nerve and orbital branch of tergopalatine ganglion. The ethmoid sinuses, they are numerous small intercommunicating spaces that lies within the labyrinth of ethmoid bone. The anterior ethmoid sinus, it opens into the anterior part of the hiatus semilunaris of the nose. It is supplied by anterior ethmoid nerves and drain into the submandibular nodes, whereas the middle ethmoid sinus, it opens into the middle meatus of nose. It is supplied by anterior ethmoid nerves. The lymphatic drainage is into the submandibular lymph node. The posterior ethmoid sinuses, they open into the superior meatus. It is supplied by posterior ethmoid nerves and lymphatic drainage is into the retropharyngeal lymph nodes. Coming to the tergopalatine fossa. So it is a small space that is present between the posterior surface of maxilla, and the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone. So this region is the tergopalatine fossa. So it can be considered as pyramidal shape. The boundaries, the anterior boundary is by the posterior surface of maxilla below the floor of orbit. The posterior wall, that is bounded by the lateral pterygoid plate and part of medial plate also. The medial boundary is from the perpendicular plate of palate. The lateral wall, it is formed by the tergomaxillary fissure. The superior wall, it is under the surface of greater wing of sphenoid. The inferior boundary is absent as the posterior wall meet the anterior wall and between them is present the greater palatine canal. So what are the content of tergopalatine fossa? It can be asked in your MCQ exam. All of following are content of tergopalatine fossa except. So remember, number 1, maxillary nerve, second, third part of the maxillary artery, tergopalatine ganglion, nerve of pterygoid canal, and fat content. These are the content of the tergopalatine ganglion. So what are the content? Maxillary nerve, third part of the maxillary artery, tergopalatine ganglion, nerve of the pterygoid canal, and the fat. The maxillary nerve, it arises from the trigeminal ganglion. So remember for your exam, the maxillary nerve, it arises from the trigeminal ganglion in the lateral wall of cavernous sinus. So in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus, below the ophthalmic nerve, and leaves the middle cranial fossa by passing to foramen rotundum. So remember for your examination point of view, maxillary nerve leaves through foramen rotundum. So in the middle cranial fossa, it has a meningeal branch that supplies the dura. In the tergopalatine fossa, you have to just remember that it has 3 branches: zygomatic branch, ganglionic branch, and posterior superior alveolar nerve branch. The posterior superior alveolar nerve, it enters the posterior surface of maxilla and supplies the molar teeth. Zygomatic branch, so it is the branch of maxillary nerve that is given off in the tergopalatine fossa. So just before entering the bone, it divides into 2 branches, that is the zygomaticofacial and zygomaticotemporal branch. So that supplies the skin of face and anterior part of the temple. The infraorbital nerve, it is the continuation of the maxillary nerve. So it emerges on the face through the infraorbital foramen and terminates into the palpebral, nasal and labial branch. So in the face there are terminal branches, palpebral, nasal, labial, these are the branches. Also it has a middle superior alveolar nerve and anterior superior alveolar nerve. The middle superior alveolar nerve, it arises in the infraorbital groove and supplies the upper premolar teeth. The anterior superior alveolar, it supplies the upper incisor, canine, maxillary sinus and antero-inferior part of the nasal cavity. Coming to the tergopalatine ganglion, it is also known as hay fever ganglion. So which ganglion is hay fever ganglion? It is tergopalatine ganglion. Which ganglion is the largest parasympathetic ganglion? It is the tergopalatine ganglion. So it acts as a relay station for secretomotor fibers to the lacrimal gland, to the nose, to the paranasal sinus, palate and pharynx. Topographically, it is related to maxillary nerve, but functionally it is connected to the facial nerve through the greater petrosal branch. So we have three roots of ganglion: parasympathetic, sympathetic and sensory. The parasympathetic root of ganglion, it is formed by nerve of pterygoid canal. Parasympathetic root is formed by pterygoid canal, by the nerve of pterygoid canal. So it carries preganglion fibers that arises from neurons that are present near the superior salivatory and lacrimal nuclei. The facial nerve, the geniculate ganglion, the greater petrosal nerve and nerve of pterygoid canal to reach the ganglion. The postganglionic fibers, they supply the secretomotor nerve to the lacrimal gland and to the mucous gland of nose, paranasal sinuses, palate and nasopharynx. The sympathetic root, it is derived from the nerve of pterygoid canal, same as the parasympathetic root. So it contains postganglionic fibers that arise in superior cervical sympathetic ganglion that passes around the internal carotid artery, deep petrosal nerve and the nerve of pterygoid canal to reach the ganglion. So the fibers passes through the ganglion without relaying and supplies the same glands. The sensory root, it comes from the maxillary nerve. Its fibers passes through the ganglion without any relay. So the branches of ganglion, they are actually the branches of the maxillary nerve. So the branches are orbital branches, palatine branches, that is the greater or anterior palatine nerve and lesser palatine nerve. The greater palatine will supply the hard palate, whereas the lesser palatine will supply the soft palate and the tonsil. The pharyngeal branch, that supplies the pharyngeal mucosa around the eustachian tube orifice. The medial branch is the posterior superior medial nasal branch, nasopalatine nerve and posterior superior lateral nasal, that supplies the upper lateral quadrant of nasal septum. The nerve of pterygoid canal, or it is known as Vidian nerve. So remember for your exam, nerve of pterygoid canal is also known as Vidian nerve. How it is formed? You have to remember for your exam, it is formed by a junction of greater petrosal nerve and deep petrosal nerve. Greater petrosal nerve and deep petrosal nerve. Vidian canal, it is through this canal the Vidian nerve passes. It is a short bony tunnel that is seen close to the floor of sphenoid sinus. It contains the Vidian nerve and Vidian vessels from the foramen lacerum to the tergopalatine fossa. The artery of pterygoid canal is the Vidian artery. It is artery that arises from the internal carotid artery or external carotid artery or serve as anastomosis between these arteries. The maxillary artery, the main arterial supply is to the infratemporal fossa. It is the largest terminal branch of external carotid artery. The maxillary artery arises just posterior to neck of mandible in substance of parotid gland. So it lies lateral to the lateral pterygoid muscle. So it is divided into three parts by the lateral pterygoid muscle. First part, second part and third part. The first part it is in the front of stylomandibular ligament along the lower border of lateral pterygoid. Second part it is deep to the lateral pterygoid muscle up to the tergomaxillary fissure, and third part it enters the tergomaxillary fissure into the tergopalatine fossa. These are the branches of the maxillary artery. Remember all these branches. They are usually asked in the MCQ exam. The first part, the mnemonic is DAMIA. Deep auricular, anterior tympanic, middle meningeal, inferior alveolar and accessory meningeal. The second part has branches deep temporal, mesenteric, pterygoid and buccal. And third part, the mnemonic is pig pass. Posterior superior alveolar, infraorbital, greater palatine, pharyngeal, artery of pterygoid canal and sphenopalatine branch.